Now at 10 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, a week has passed since the shooting at the Victoria College campus and the suspect still at large. And Texas State will host the first presidential debate in 2024. Other locations and next year's presidential debate tonight. Plus, a comment on social media led to the reunion of two family members. 25 News Now reporter Adarius McCormick has this story.
Well, the long-awaited frontal system has finally passed through Victoria. We're going to be looking for increasing northerly winds for the rest of the day and most of the week. That northerly wind is going to cool us down. Today we were at 81. Tomorrow's only 62 is the high temperature. We'll be talking about that and taking a look at Thanksgiving coming up.
We have some basketball teams in action this afternoon. I'll have that in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Karina Garcia. Don Brubaker has the night off. No arrest a week after the Victoria College campus shooting. 25 News Now made a public information request Tuesday to the Victoria Police Department for the police report. The VPD responded by requesting a decision from the Attorney General on the release of the report, citing that it would interfere with the investigation. At a press conference last week, the VC president said the incident was isolated and that the shooter and victim seemed to know each other. The shooter does remain at large and the victim is out of the hospital and recovering at home. If you have any information on the suspect, you can make an anonymous tip by calling 361-572-4200. Now, trees are a sign of abundance and life, and we see them often. It might be easy to forget the dangers they can bring if they were to fall over. 25 News Now weekend anchor Adam Seibel takes a closer look in this 25 News Now Extra Riverside Park trees.
Well, I mean, as you can see, these trees grow extremely high and they weigh, thousands and thousands of pounds. The tree is very dangerous if it's at risk of falling.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott has spent most of his life in a wheelchair after he was left paralyzed by a falling oak tree in 1984. He was simply going for a jog when the tragedy happened. He sued the Houston homeowner whose tree fell on him and the tree service company who inspected the giant oak tree, and now receives a nearly six-figure annual income from that legal settlement. But Governor Abbott said he'd give it all up just to be able to walk again. And this spring, a nearly 2,000-pound tree branch fell on a family at the San Antonio Zoo, sending them to the hospital. That family now suing for $1 million. With all the benefits trees provide, it can be easy to look past the dangers they pose. The average full-size tree can weigh as much as a ton, the equivalent of a car falling on you. Let's take a closer look at the trees here in Victoria, specifically those within Riverside Park. Victoria Parks and Recreation Superintendent Steve Gallagher says his team is proactive to make sure the trees at Riverside Park are safe and well maintained.
We're very proactive looking at trees and surveying them. Like I said earlier, we had 7-day-a-week operation.
Gallagher says his crews are always ready to go.
And then they're also looking for trees that are any hazards to sidewalks or parking areas, as well as just general trails in Riverside Park. And then we'll address that appropriately with our crews.
We wanted to get another assessment on the trees at Riverside Park, so we contacted Carl Albert Landscaping, a local tree removal company based in Victoria. With thousands of trees in Riverside Park, they did notice some trees that needed attention.
You don't want to have this tree in the back of your yard. No matter how much you love the tree, you and your family, that tree need to come down. That's a big tree. You leave the tree, I mean, see.
Haley McGill is the director of operations for Carl Albert Landscaping and says it's hard to estimate the exact number of trees at risk of falling, but Carl Albert Landscaping estimates about 1 out of every 10 trees at Riverside Park need a close review.
Me and Fernando drove through the park earlier, just taking a look at groups of trees, and in our opinion, without looking at all of the trees, just the groups that we did, maybe 1 in 10 are not completely healthy. That most likely means trim. Just because I say it's unhealthy, that doesn't mean that the tree is going to fall tomorrow. It's just, in the future it may be it may be at risk of getting more damage and a weak root system and then falling.
Haley says that the trees should be assessed for their health by a professional every 3 to 5 years. Changes in a tree such as dead leaves, fungus around the tree, or peeling bark could all be signs of a tree at risk of falling.
You may notice loose bark or cracking in your tree, and on the outside it looks a little unusual, but once you start peeling that away, you notice, you know, it may be hollow inside, and that's a huge reason that it may fall.
Fernando says this tree at Riverside Park is damaged. The tree sounds hollow and is overrun by termites. Carl Albert says prices for a tree trimming can range from $250 to $2,500 and around $3,000 for tree removal. Victoria Parks and Recreation is able to handle these jobs most of the time within their own department. Annually, the Park General Fund gets about $3.5 million for personnel and maintenance and operation. Everything they do, from lawn mowing, cleaning the restrooms, and other park maintenance, is rolled into that general fund.
We're ready to go and keep an eye on things for the citizens here in Texas.
Oak, pecan, and Anaqua trees are the primary types of trees you'll find in Riverside Park. And without a professional assessment, you can never truly know the status of a tree.
I mean, well, just like the incidents that happened recently at the zoo, you know, and to the young kid, if a tree doesn't have a stable root system, then it can be at risk of falling. And the tree may appear healthy, but if you don't have a professional assess the tree, then really, you know, you may not have any idea of what's going on.
So next time you appreciate a tree and the shade and oxygen it provides, don't forget, it's up to us to keep them safe and healthy.
Parks and Rec also debuted their app, See, Click, Fix That. You can use it to submit a tree that needs service. You can even track it as the tree is being worked on. The app is called Victoria Texas 311, or go to victoriatx.gov under the Report and Issue tab. And with that, here is your Veer poll tonight. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, do you do your part to report potentially dangerous trees in your neighborhood? Yes or no? According to our results, it looks like 28% say yes and 72% stand at no. Thank you for voting tonight. Now, the city of Victoria may have a vacancy soon for mayor if the position does not become available. The city will hold a special election. The election comes after Victoria Mayor Jeff Bouknight announced his bid for the Texas House of Representatives District 30. Under law, if an official aims for another office with over a year left in their term, it requires they resign but remain in the role until another mayor is elected. The city council has plans to call a special election February 3rd of this coming year. Candidates have until December 4th of this year to enter the race. More information will become available at the City Council meeting Tuesday, November 21st at 107 West 1 Lynn Street at 5 p.m. And with that, let's take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Well, it's 69 degrees, but most importantly, the winds have turned out of the north and the dew point is dropping dramatically. That north dry wind is coming in behind the little frontal system we were waiting for. It's finally here. 81 was our high today. Tomorrow, 62 was the overnight low this morning. Tomorrow, 62 is the high temperature as we're looking for a 20-degree drop by tomorrow. So do you remember where your jacket is? You're going to need it tomorrow. We'll talk more about that and take a look at Thanksgiving coming up in a moment. Back to you.
Mac, thank you. The Bipartisan Commission on Presidential Debates, which has sponsored every presidential debate since 1987, will host the first debate September 16th at Texas State. The second debate will be on October 1st at Virginia State, and the third will be on October 9th at the University of Utah. There will be 27 days between the last debate and Election Day on November 5th. That's compared to 12 days in 2020 and 20 days in 2016. A social media comment turned into a heartfelt reunion between a brother and his sister in Ganado. 25 News Now reporter Adarius McCormick caught the moment this morning.
Ganado Cinema owner Alvin Sabata and his sister Charlene Sabata Old spent 2 years away from each other. In a cry for help, Charlene commented on a Facebook post by Grow and Grace Senior Living. She wrote, "We have been in different nursing homes in different cities. We so much desire to see each other." The nursing home owner saw the comment and worked hard to make this reunion happen.
Well, when I saw the text, she posted, or it was a post on my business page, my heart sank because I had no idea it had been 2 years. My first instinct was, we're going to make this happen before Christmas.
Guess what? They made it happen. Charlene made it to Ganado from Shiner in less than a week. The icing on the cake was today happened to be Alvin's birthday. Here's the moment when he received what he called the best gift.
Let me push you up some more, okay?
Hicks says this moment meant a lot for her because Alvin is more than a resident. He's family.
That's one of my whys. I want every day to be like no other for them. And it was that feeling of we made it happen, and it was an amazing feeling.
Charlene's daughter says her mother's comment shocked her, but Christy expected her mom to do whatever it takes to be in the same room as Alvin.
I saw my mom had already done it on Facebook. I was kind of taken aback, like, Mom, what are you doing? But then my mom is the little sister, and he's the big brother, and so I know how much she just adores him, and to go so long without seeing him, it's hard.
Alvin and Charlene will spend the day together with some family. Also, Pixie the monkey will spend some time with them. Before Charlene made it to the home, Alvin's only wish was to have his sister meet Pixie. Now, Pixie, Alvin, and Charlene are catching up. Reporting in Ganado, I'm Adarius McCormick, KVUE-TV 25 News Now.
Darius, thank you for that beautiful story. Now, continuing on a happy note, 'tis the season of giving. Today, a longtime area healthcare facility was on the receiving end of that giving spirit. Affectionate Arms Adult Daycare in Victoria serves those 18 and over with disabilities and other health needs. Two local organizations stopped by Affectionate Arms to donate money to help them out this holiday season.
The VFW is donating $200.
Yes, sir.
And the auxiliary is matching them for another $200 to the Affectionate Arms Adult Daycare Center.
Affectionate Arms is located at 3802 John Stockbauer Drive in Victoria. Affectionate Arms welcomes all donations. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. A man in Jackson, Mississippi, who was killed by an off-duty police officer was laid to rest today. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, his mother's emotional words. Also ahead, veterinarians in several states are warning pet owners about a mysterious illness affecting dogs. Mississippi man struck and killed by an off-duty police officer back in March was laid to rest today. A memorial service for Dexter Wade was held at a church in Jackson months after he was run over by an off-duty Jackson police officer and buried without his mother's knowledge. The Reverend Al Sharpton delivered the eulogy at request of Wade's family, along with National Civil Rights Attorney Ben Crump. And in an emotional moment, Betterson Wade, Dexter's mother, gave a long tribute to her son.
And right now, I thank everybody for just fighting with me. Just keep fighting with me, because it's not over yet. We just letting Dexter go home and walk around heaven with his fathers on the golden street. And that's what he always said. I'm going home to my father, and I'm going to walk the golden streets with my father. And now, Dexter, you are home.
Last week, Dexter Wade's body was exhumed from the grounds of Hinds County, and his mother vowed to give him a proper burial. There's a rising number of flu cases in the country. The CDC saying respiratory illnesses activity is rising in many parts of the U.S. and is expected to hit record highs during this year's holiday travel.
With Thanksgiving right around the corner, health officials warning of potential super spreader events. Respiratory illnesses on the rise in many parts of the country. 7 states plus D.C. and Puerto Rico seeing high or very high levels. ER visits from the flu, COVID, and RSV all going up.
We're seeing increases in flu and COVID hospitalizations, highest among those that are 65 and older. We're also seeing hospitalizations of RSV in our younger kids. We especially saw that happen in the southern states, which may have actually peaked already.
Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee, seeing an uptick in patients battling the flu.
Well, it's that time of the year again, and these viruses are starting to tick up. Certainly in our neck of the woods, we have within the past week seen a substantial increase in people hospitalized with influenza.
The CDC estimates over 780,000 flu illnesses and nearly 500 deaths from October until last week, with tragic incidents like the recent loss of 7-year-old Kalia Burgess from Columbus, Georgia, due to flu complications.
She was saying, like, I can't breathe, They got here really fast, but honestly, before they got here, I just knew she had already left.
Despite increased flu and COVID-19 cases, hospitalizations have been lower compared to last year. However, health officials caution against complacency.
And as we often hear, experts reminding us getting your annual vaccinations is key, along with good ventilation during a gathering, washing your hands frequently, and if you're sick, staying away from others. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
A mysterious illness is infecting dogs in several U.S. states. Only 2 states have seen cases so far. In Oregon, more than 200 cases were reported since August. Washington state is also reporting cases with similar symptoms, including coughing, sneezing, runny noses, and eyes, and fatigue. Researchers in New Hampshire say this disease has so far resisted standard treatments. While vets are figuring out this illness, they recommend pet owners keep their dogs up to date on their vaccines.
And good evening, everybody. As I mentioned, the frontal system is finally passed. All of a sudden, we're getting a stronger, drier north wind. It's blowing down into our area, and it's going to keep us on the cool side of things. Meanwhile, what about Thanksgiving? We'll give you your forecast for that coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Well, good evening, everybody. All of a sudden, the frontal system we've been promising you for 7 days finally made it tonight. Our winds have shifted to the north. They're picking up. Tomorrow will be a little breezy with a northerly wind blowing through. That frontal system did trigger some big activity out there in Louisiana and in Mississippi. Tonight they had some big storms, but for us it came through dry as just a wind shift line. And all of a sudden we're going to be dropping the temperature by 20 degrees for tomorrow. Yes, sir. Now here is Doppler radar. You can see how everything ended even in East Texas. It all went that way, and as it's running into a lot more energy, places like Mississippi are under the gun for severe weather right now. You can see these really big thunderstorms right about there. There were some tornado reports. There was some damage. We don't know for sure until they look at it tomorrow morning. But then we'll see, you know, if hopefully nobody got hurt, but that was in central Mississippi overnight. Now here you see the winds beginning to pick up. Now this is right now, so they were already up to 15, 25 miles an hour. It'll be rather breezy tomorrow, but that'll be bringing in the cool air that will be with us for quite some time. Now here's Future Tracker. We start on Monday night. That's where everything is now. We go forward all the way to Tuesday, tomorrow noontime, and you can see how it rolls eastward very rapidly, and then by Wednesday it's already way out on the east coast. If you're traveling east coast on Wednesday before Thanksgiving, that's where it's going to be. We're going to be doing good because things are quiet for us. High pressure is building in behind all that, and as a result, we may have a couple of good days. Now, I say a couple of good days, not spectacular days, because the cloud deck is going to be with us, and I'll show you why. Now, first of all, here's the storm today. You can see how it rapidly goes to the east coast. There's a high pressure building in, and that is good for a couple of days, but once the breeze comes back out of the south, it's so close by that we're likely to get some overcast skies and maybe even some drizzle on Thanksgiving Day. Not a big rainstorm, just a little drizzle, but you'll be wearing your sweater and all that good stuff, all right? And then as we get through the week, by the time we get to Saturday and Sunday, another frontal system comes through. This one's a little bit stronger, and that will give us a shot at rain on Sunday, Monday of the weekend, and that's important for people who might be doing a little driving. A lot of people on the roadway this week. Down to 53 tonight. Tomorrow, we're only looking at a high of about 63 as opposed to the 81 we had today. So let's take a look at day planners. For those of you in Port Lavaca, we have what we call a short thermometer. Watch this. It gets down to 59 and it only goes up to 62. That's about that much. But cloudy and windy all day as the breeze will be blowing out of the north at about 25 miles an hour. Now tomorrow in Cuero, we're looking at 57 low, 61 high, short thermometer there. Partly cloudy, windy, and obviously cooler. So we're back to the windy and cool weather that we promised you just in time for Thanksgiving. It'll be sweater weather for Thanksgiving because the high temperature is only 60, overnight lows down into the 40s. Some of you may even turn the furnace on. Nice for shopping on Friday, but here's that Sunday forecast for possible rain, and that's what we'll be watching for the next few days. That is your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody, we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Mr. Zach with sports.
Thank you, Mac. We've got some area basketball Thanksgiving week edition. These teams playing much earlier in the day than usual. I'll have that in sports. Well, we've got some area basketball Thanksgiving week edition. These teams playing much earlier in the day than usual. Over at the St. Joe Dome, the boys welcome Karn City. The boys trying to stay undefeated in the very young basketball season. They played great defense, moved the ball pretty well, and had some tough finishes using a 20-point fourth quarter to get the 63-48 win. Bennett Ferguson had 19 and Ryan Carson had 17 on the evening. They also accounted for nearly all of the Flyer fourth quarter points to keep Karn City at bay. Over in Hallettsville, the ladies welcome number 15 Shiner, some Lavaca County rivals. Or is it DeWitt County? I've got that wrong. My apologies. And it would be Shiner who edges out the victory 41-34. That was Hallettsville's first loss on the season, and they are now sitting at 7-1. The Calhoun Sandies and St. Joseph Lady Flowers took to the court. Calhoun did come out on top. Calhoun had a commanding 40-20 lead at the half. It ended up being just an 8-point game when all was said and done. Leading the way for St. Joseph with 15 points was Maddie Stefka. They had 3 girls in double-digit scoring. Calhoun was led by Monique Barges with 22 and Katie Berm with 21 points. St. Joseph trying to get back in the win column tomorrow. How about another close game? The East Titans made the trip to West Oso and just did get the win. Low scoring affair there. Final score of 46-44. The East Titans improved to 3-1 on the year and get a home game tomorrow against Jones. That game 12:30 in the afternoon. And Yoakum getting the job done over the Moulton Bobcats with a 51-45 victory this afternoon. Zach Taylor had 7 points. Gage Harrison led the way with 11. They play again tomorrow at Luling, looking to go 4-0 on the year. And also, the West girls took home the dub today as well, playing San Antonio Edison. Senior Eliza Malik led the way with 20 points. Isaiah Morgan chipped in 6, but had 5 steals. And how about this? Freshman Tatum Boyce, daughter of head football coach Courtney Boyce, had 9 points and cleaned the glass with 10 boards. And Coach Rankin Williams is most proud of this one. Everybody scored in the 63-45 win. In its regional semifinal week, we've got about 9 teams still playing. In one of those games, a big rivalry, and that is the Lavaca River Showdown. At least that's what it was about a month ago. Now it's the Lavaca River rematch, and we want to know who you guys think will win. Earlier this afternoon, 69% said Edna. Those numbers have since flew in the way of Industrial at 45%. So everybody voted for Industrial. This game is going to be close. It was an absolute shootout, but Industrial feeling good about where they are right now. Can't wait for that matchup at 1 p.m. in Bay City. And we can't end the night without talking about Bloomington girls basketball. They too got the win, 52-27. Some good ball being played over there. That's it for your sports. Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Zach. Now stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather with Mac. Plus, 2 turkeys in Iowa were spared from the Thanksgiving dinner table. That story and more up next. A church in Massachusetts welcomed more than 200 migrants for Thanksgiving dinner Sunday. Children with families also received gifts. The dinner was organized by the Revive City Church and several other community groups. Organizers say they wanted those who've recently arrived to the U.S. to feel welcome. The dinner was also migrants' opportunity to learn more about services to help them get adjusted to life in a new place.
This is providing them an experience that they probably never had before. This is bringing them joy in a new way.
A lot of them have come recently, and we just want to make sure that they feel like this is a welcoming community, and the why definitely is that.
Most migrant families at the dinner came to the U.S. from Haiti and Cuba. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds held the yearly pre-Thanksgiving turkey pardon ceremony this morning in Des Moines. These two birds, Freedom and Flourish, were spared from the dinner table raised in Manson. These turkeys will now spend the remainder of their days on a non-commercial farm in the southwest part of the state. Iowa ranks 6th in the U.S. for turkey production, producing more than 12 million turkeys yearly. Oh my goodness, they're just pushing them out.
Yeah. And 12 million of them will probably be on the table tomorrow.
Adam ran a story over the weekend. 2 of them also got pardoned in Minnesota, who in Minnesota claims to be the turkey capital of the world, but Quail also makes that claim. If 12 million though, I mean, how are they not the turkey capital of the world? That's
I think
a lot.
Quail can do 12 million, I think. Don't
you think so? They can push them out?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right.
Over the years.
All right, there you go. That's where it is.
Well, we finally got that frontal system through, folks, and tomorrow will be much cooler. Today we were at 81. Tomorrow 63 is the high temperature, so we'll be in the 50s all day long. And of course, that wind will be blowing. You'll need a sweater or a jacket or a long sleeve. If you're working outdoors, you'll probably work up a sweat. But if you're just a delicate flower like me and Zach, you'll need some sort of coat. 60 degrees will be the high temperature on Wednesday and on Thursday, and we see no significant rainfall through at least Friday.
All righty, thank you, Mac. Now, the holiday season is underway at the White House. Today, First Lady Jill Biden received the 2023 White House Christmas tree. The 18.5-foot tree is from Fleetwood, North Carolina. The First Lady was joined by the military and veteran families to welcome the tree. Once fully decorated, the tree will be on display in the blue room. Do you guys have your Christmas trees up yet?
You're supposed to wait till after Thanksgiving.
You're supposed to. I did.
That's
what I did this weekend.
As a kid, we used to do it after Halloween.
Well,
after my mom too, actually.
That's a bit early, but the plan is you set it up for Thanksgiving. Then when the kids come home, they can decorate it.
The tree?
Look at you
go. Oh, you don't decorate with family?
No, my kids, when they come in to visit, I'll let them decorate.
I was going to say, Matt, because we're Mexican, you know families do everything together.
We do, but I want them to work too. Why should I do all the decorating?
Fair, that's right.
And then they show up.
All righty, thank you, Mac, and thank you, Zach, and thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10. Join Carolina and meteorologist Parker Cox for 25 News Now Sunrise. Have a good night.